I'm gonna put up something on screen just for a little bit. You can feel free to screenshot it. What I'll try to remember to do, if I forget, somebody send me an email. What I'm trying to do is all of the things from A Course in Miracles that I went through that were really meaty for me that I went through just now, I'd be happy to send it to you so that you can read it yourself and see, what it does for you. And also this screen that I'm about to share with you as well, I will include it in an email to you. Actually, let's do this. This page does not exist on my website right now, so just bear with me. I'm going to say it and then I'm going to create it once our event is over. So the link that I'll create is, that just came to my mind, so I'm just going to go with it. AllisonPhillips.tv/June 2024. AllisonPhillips.tv/June 2024. I'll put everything there. That way I don't have to, because this video will probably be on YouTube and not everyone who is follow me on YouTube is on my email list and they don't have to be. So I'll put it up on my website instead. Anyway, so here's the screenshot. So this is our contemplation for the month of June, if you're willing to go with me on it. But what I want to do, you can take a screenshot because I'm going to remove it from the screen in a minute. But what I want to do is sort of walk through you can say all of this literally in 60 seconds, right? But what does it feel like to deeply contemplate each aspect of this? I'm going to walk you through it so that you can play with that if you choose to contemplate this every day in June, which is what I will be doing. So I'll just read it first and then I'll take it off screen and come back and share some things with you. So the key thing is I recognize that as source energy, again, not as Rachel, not as Rebecca, not as Regina, as source energy, I am already tapped into the frequency and the field of infinite possibilities and potential. So mentally, my mind holds only the perspectives of source. Emotionally, I live predominantly in a state of peace, love, and joy. Physically, my body moves easily, freely, and comfortably. I am healthy, vibrant, and full of energy. Financially, I am free to be, do, and experience all that I love and enjoy. It brings joy to me and to others as well. All right, so let me come back on screen here, stop sharing. So let's walk through this, right? The first three words says, I recognize that as source energy. Some of you may need to deeply contemplate just the first three words. I recognize that. What do I mean by that? There's a part of A Course in Miracles that says enlightenment is a recognition, not, I forget what it says, not a place you arrive at, but it's just a recognition. And that's one of the key things in A Course in Miracles is they heavily emphasize recognize you're already that, recognize you're already that, recognize you're already that. Let's just say, for some reason, let's just say my son has a show in your city and I decided to fly to your city to see my son's show. You don't know that I'm there. I don't even know who you are, what you look like. Everybody here knows what I look like because you see me on screen all the time. I don't know what you look like. If I were to run into you, I wouldn't even recognize you because I don't know what you look like. So I flew to your city and while I was there, I was like, let me go get some snacks from the grocery store. It just happens to be the same grocery store that you shop at. And you're walking past me in the aisle. I don't recognize you because I don't hang out with you. I don't see you like you see me, but you recognize me because you see me on screen often. As I walk past you in the aisle, you recognize me right then. And you go, Allison? And I'm like, yes, you are. Because I don't know you. I don't know what you look like, right? We don't have cameras on when we do Zoom events. So that's what recognition looks like, right? If I walk by you, in an instant, you recognize who I am because you're familiar with me. Y'all get that? You're familiar with what I look like. You've seen me on screen a lot. Recognition comes from familiarity. So I recognize that as source energy, some of you, that's the place where you just need to nourish yourself. I recognize that as source energy. I remember way back earlier this year, my contemplation was just those three words, as source energy. That's it, as source energy. I had to shake the remnants of my identification with my human self. So I would just sit there and go, as source energy, as source, as source energy, as source energy. What does that mean? As source energy. So I'm not Allison. I'm an emanation of source energy. So as source, how am I moving through planet Earth? As source. Not as Allison, as source. What do I see? As source, how am I perceiving? As source, as source, as source energy, as source. How am I looking at this differently as source? As source, how am I perceiving my physical body? As source, how am I perceiving my finances? As source, not as my name, not as my human identity, but as source, as source. Because when you become familiar with what life looks like as source, the perspective of source becomes your norm. The perspective of source is what pulls you more than the perspective of your human self. And so the recognition, I recognize, comes from I'm familiar with what life looks like as source energy. So I recognize that as source energy, not as my human identity. I recognize that as the source energy that I never left when I came into this body. I never left. I came from source energy, and that aspect of me is active now. It's active in this present moment. It's active now. So as source energy, as the source that I am, I recognize that as the source that, y'all see how long I'm staying just there? I recognize that as the source energy that I am, as the source energy that I am, not as my human identity, not as the limits of this physical body, not as the limits of this human mind. I recognize that as the source energy that I am, as the source energy that I am already tapped into the frequency and the field of infinite possibilities and potentials, because I am source energy, and I recognize that I'm source energy. I am not this physical body. I am not this human mind. I am not this entity that I'm embedded in for a short period of time. I recognize that as source energy, I'm already tapped into the frequency, my whole body can feel the field of infinite potentials. I can feel that in my body. I can tap into that frequency because I'm not this body. I am source energy. As source energy, I'm already tapped into the field and the frequency of infinite potentials, infinite possibilities. I'm already tapped in because I am source. I am not this physical body. As source energy, I am already tapped into the frequency and the field, the limitless field of infinite possibilities and potentials. As source energy. As source energy. Not as this physical apparatus, not as this name that I identify as in physical form, as source energy. Because I'm source energy, I am already tapped into the frequency of limitless potentials, infinite possibilities, but I'm already attached to infinite potentials. My hands are already in it. My frequency is already in it. My energy field is already in it because I have left the notion that I am this physical body. I am now emanating as source energy, as the source that I am. And as the source that I am instantly tapped into infinite potentials. I am instantly tapped into infinite potentials. Infinite possibilities is now where I am. Because as source, that's where I live. As source, that's what I have access to. As source, that's what I'm tapped into. As source, I don't have to work to get there. I don't have to do things to get. I'm already tapped in as source. I am already tapped in. Y'all hear me? I'm already tapped in as source. I am already tapped in. I'm already feeling that frequency, and it's overwhelming me right now. As the source that I am already tapped in to the field and the frequency of infinite potentials. It's not a dream. I am already in it. I am swimming in it. That frequency is who I am. That frequency is my true nature. My access is my true nature. The access to infinite potentials is my true nature. I have left the physical body. I am now emanating as source that I am, as the source energy that I am. I am already tapped into infinite potentials. It's who I am as source. I have forgotten any limits that I perceived in physical form. I laid her aside for a second, and I chose to experience what it feels like to be the source that I am, the truth that I am, the ability to be instantly tapped in to infinite potentials and possibilities. It is mine to be able to tap into infinite potentials and possibilities. As source energy, I am already tapped in. And that awareness that I'm already tapped in is permeating my physical body. As source energy, the infinite potentials that I'm already tapped into, I'm allowing it to permeate my physical body. I'm allowing it to permeate every atom of my physical body. Therefore, healing is already mine. Healing is already mine. I am already tapped in. I don't have to do anything. I'm already tapped in as source. I am already tapped in. So I choose to claim the healing that is already mine as source. I see that the healing for this physical body has always been accessible to me. In my physical body, emanating as source, healing has always been accessible to me as source. But I have to see as source. I have to perceive the infinite potentials as source. I have to let go of my physical body and its perspectives in order to perceive and see as source energy. And from that perspective as source energy, mentally my mind holds only the perspectives of source. When I have left the perceived limits of the physical form, as source energy, my mind holds only the perspectives of source. There's a line in A Course in Miracles that says, my mind holds only the thoughts of God. My mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. That's the Course in Miracles line. And so I've moved that here into my own interpretation. My mind holds only the perspectives of source. So what does that mean? It means I get to question and doubt the problem because my mind holds only the perspectives of source. If you choose in that moment to hold only the perspectives of source regarding something that's happening in your life, what are you holding as true in your mind? What are you holding as true when your mind holds only, allows only, sees only, focuses only on the perspectives of source? Mentally, my mind holds only perspectives of source. Therefore, emotionally, I live predominantly in a state of peace, love, and joy. Because if I recognize that as source energy, I'm already tapped into the frequency and the field of infinite potentials, mentally, my mind holds only the perspectives of source because now I'm tapped in. And because I'm tapped in emotionally, that gives rise to the predominance of peace, to predominance of love, to the predominance of joy, because I'm already tapped in. Physically, my body moves freely, easily, comfortably. I'm healthy, I'm vibrant, I'm full of energy because I'm tapped in already as source. I'm already tapped in as source. And what the source within me is tapped into, I'm able to source to my physical body as well. And because I'm able to source what the source within me is tapped into already, the limitless frequency that the source within me is tapped into, I'm able to grab hold of some of that and wash my body over with healing and vibrancy. I'm able to tap in because as source energy, not as my physical self, as source energy, not as my physical name, as source energy, I'm already tuned into, I'm already tapped into healing for my physical body. I'm already tapped in as source to the limitless possibilities and the frequency. The frequency, it's mine, the frequency, I'm tapped into the frequency. And as source energy, as I tap into that frequency, I can feel my body and what it feels like when it's healed and whole. I can feel that story permeating my life. I can feel that new story taking over my mind because my mind holds only the perspective of source. And I live predominantly in a state of peace, washed over in peace. I know that my body moves easily, freely, comfortably. I am healthy. I am vibrant. I am full of energy. Financially, I don't even have to give that any thought. I am free to be and do and experience all that I love and enjoy. I can follow my highest passion because I'm free to do so. Financially, I am free to do so. There are no limits. As source energy, I am tapped into the frequency of abundance. As source energy, I'm tapped in. I don't have to work at being tapped in. I don't have to meditate to tapped in. I don't have to do anything. As source energy, I'm already tapped into the frequency of abundance. I'm already tapped into infinite potential for abundance. I'm already tapped in. I'm already tapped in. It's not something I have to work on. I'm already tapped in. Everybody take a deep breath. That's my experience of this contemplation for the month. That's my experience of this contemplation for the month. If you go there every day, you can't come out on the other side of this the way you came in. If you go there every day as source energy tapped in, if you go there every day, you cannot hit July of 2024 and not have had some kind of shift. I don't have a goal for this. I don't suggest that you have any goals. Just experience what's here to be experienced. No goals, no personal agendas, by the end of the month I will have healed. The healing will take place if you just stay in the frequency. You don't have to have an agenda. You don't have to have a goal. Let all the goals aside and just have the experience as you move through the month. And just explore it like with childlike curiosity. And just go, I wonder what I will feel like. I wonder what will open up for me. I wonder what aspects of this particular contemplation I'll feel more pulled into than others. Because some days the mental thing is just pulling you. My mind holds only the perspectives of source. Other days it's like Financially, I am free. I am free. I am free to be, do, and experience my highest potential, my highest joy, because I'm free. I'm already tapped in. As source energy, I'm already tapped in. So that's the experience. I'm going to pause now and address a couple of things that came to me as I was going through this. If you've moved into the frequency, the conflicting thoughts doesn't have room to enter, right? If you go where I just went, the conflicting thoughts there's no holes for it to come in. But if you're not used to contemplating, if you're not used to deeply contemplating in this way, it may. So as you go through any of this, the mind may come through and say this, that, or the other. You just hold the frequency and you go, thank you, mind. I am moving beyond this thought. I am moving beyond the limits of this thought. I'm moving beyond the limits of this belief. I am moving into the frequency that I live predominantly in a state of peace, love, and joy. I'm moving into the frequency that my body moves freely, because your mind may go, yeah, but you just took the medication this morning, or your mind might say, yeah, but you still have a doctor's appointment and you're not going to cancel it. So clearly you still think whatever. It's like, who cares? I'm going to go to the doctor's appointment with my belief. It's like, it's as the mind throws stuff, just stick with what you recognize as source energy. See, the body, if it's used to old programming, it will buck when you start doing this, right? It'll go, what are you talking about? No, we've been here for 10 years. We've had this pain, For 10 years, we've had this diagnosis. For 10 years, you've been taking this medicine. For 10 years, you've been whatever, right? The mind is going to do what the mind does. The mind is just there trying to protect you from being disappointed or whatever. As the thoughts come through, use the let it through. Let it through. You're not fighting with it. Let it through. I'm going to let you through. I'm going to let you through. I'm going to let you through. As I continue to recognize that as source energy, I am already tapped in. I'm going to let you through. But right now I'm recognizing as source energy, I am already tapped into the frequency of infinite potentials as source energy, not as this body, not as this mind, not as my name, as source energy. I'm already tapped into the frequency. So you can transmute and transcend in whatever way makes sense to you, but don't fight with the thoughts that are coming. Let them pass like clouds. Just be the witness of them as you continue to tap in. Just let them go by. It's like, I'm gonna let you through. I'm gonna let you through. I'm gonna let you through. Another thing that I wanted to share was you're stepping out of what's known and into the unknown. You don't know what exists in the field of infinite potentials, right? We don't know what exists in the field of infinite possibilities. We don't know. So oftentimes, and I'm going to sort of invite you to, if you're willing, and if this makes sense to you, if you're willing, if it feels like it resonates. So there's a place we can be in our awareness of what is possible that sounds kind of like this. It's like, I know I'm source energy, therefore I know I can get clients. I am source energy, therefore I know I can expand my business. I am source energy, therefore I know I can affect my career taking off. As source energy, I know I can land a new job. As source energy, I know that I can get a raise, whatever, right? But what we're doing that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's an experience along the journey, right? That's fine. But what we're doing there is we're like, I need something in the physical realm to latch onto as source energy, right? So We're latching on to the job. We're latching on to the potential of a different job, a new job. We're latching on to the expansion of the business. We're latching on to the career taking off. We're latching on to, I saw Sanji. I know I can find a healing modality that causes blah, blah, blah in my body to shift, So we're constantly going back to the physical, back to the physical. All of these claims are fine. And I have experienced shifts by making such claims as well. But there's another place you can go if you're willing. If you're willing, there's another place you can go. And that's into the field of infinite potentials that has no label, no physical form yet, but it does exist. It has no label, it has no physical form yet, and I'm willing to go there because I don't know what's there. In the field of infinite possibilities and potentials, I don't know what's possible. And I'm comfortable with not knowing what it's gonna look like. I'm willing, can get a little scary, to release my attachment to the career taking off, the clients coming in. It's not that you don't want those things to happen. It's, I believe that I don't have to latch on to that for my sense of security. So I'm willing to let go and go into what's infinite potentials that's unknown to me. There's so much that's unknown to me. There's so much that's unknown to me. There's so much that's unknown to my physical apparatus that I have access to as source energy. There is so much that is completely unknown to my physical apparatus, my mind, that is known to source energy. And so as I go into the unknown, I'm going to rest in not knowing what it's going to look like. I'm going to rest there. I'm going to rest in the peace that's there. Because as source energy, it's already solved. It's already worked out. Because I am one with the source that I am. I am one with the source that is in me. I'm one. And I don't have to see anything because there's so much of our lives that's on hold because we're waiting to see something manifest financially in order to feel infinite potentials and possibility. It's like, oh, now that manifested, okay, so now I can believe in infinite potentials, right? It's one way to be. And you can believe in infinite possibilities and potentials that is completely unseen and unknown to you. And you're so at peace there that you enter that realm with childlike curiosity and you're excited to see what's possible that you never thought about. That you never, ever thought about. That you never thought about. I'll give you an example in my own life. When I decided I want to gift people experiences like this, events, private sessions, that reminds me, I talk about that. Private sessions, all these, when I decided I want to gift people that, there was nothing going on within me that other than the joy of giving, the joy of giving, the joy of giving, the joy of giving, the joy of inviting people into experiences they may not have stepped into, the joy of hearing people say, oh, I never thought of it that way. Now I see something different. And the joy of watching potentials open up for people as we converse together, as we share together, right? The joy of that was sufficient for me. And then the field of unknown potentials kicked in. and people started sending me money. And at first I resisted and I was like, but I'm doing this because I'm doing fine. But as people felt the energy of different experiences, they felt compelled to give. Why are you giving to me? I was like in the I'm not worthy camp for a little bit there. I'm like, why are you inspired to give to me? Like, I didn't ask for this. I'm good. But somehow the universe orchestrated people to just give me money. Like, why is this happening? That was never in my mind. Never in my mind. And it started happening frequently enough that I actually put it in a frequently asked questions on my events page, like the very last question there. But people started asking, what's your Cash App? What's your, what? And some of you who are looking at me right now might be thinking, why is that happening for her? Right? Frequency, moving in the frequency can cause all kinds of unknown things to happen. I wasn't looking, that was not even like, what? I pushed it away initially. I was like, no, I'm good. No. And then Spirit said to me, do not push this away. You are blocking the circular flow. They're giving because they're feeling something and you're blocking it. So you're blocking the circular flow that's going to come right back to them. And the flow is going, when they give to you, whoosh, it's coming back. Shh, it's just, shh, it's just a circular flow. You don't need it, but let the flow happen. And I had to release the, I don't, and I'm like, let the flow happen. Let it go. Let's just let it happen. Let it happen. And that's a really amazing example of, that was in the field of infinite potentials. That was totally unknown to me. Never saw that come. I never saw that coming. Like, what? I am giving to people. But the flow is just, Spirit said it's a circular flow. Just let it flow. Just let it flow. As it comes through, just let it through, give it back, let it through, give back, let it through, give back. Just let it through and give back. And don't try to block it. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. And this can happen in your life as well. When you are willing to just trust in the unknown. I have no idea how this is going to happen. I have no idea how my body's going to get healed. I have no idea how the money's going to come. Oh, but I'm excited. I'm excited because the unknown holds so much potential that it's exciting. I don't have to hold on to everything that's known. I don't have to like orchestrate the expansion of my business, orchestrate the expansion of my career, orchestrate the expansion of my, my job potential or career potential. I can step into the unknown and get excited about what's unknown. Like, I don't know what's possible here. In this field of infinite potentials, I don't know. But as source energy, I'm willing to see, I'm willing to allow, I'm willing to allow, I'm willing to allow, I'm willing to allow. As source energy, I'm recognizing I'm already tapped in. It's not a thing that I work toward. It's a recognition that I'm already tapped in. As you go through this, or prior to, I'll let it flow however it wants to flow. Another thing that is worth sharing here, and I'm going to bring this to an end, and then I'll look to see if you have any questions. If you have questions at this point, just raise your hand or put it in the Q&A box or put it in the chat box. I'll go look at that in a second. What I want to end on here is that some of you are so unfamiliar with potentials. Now, you don't have to be familiar with it. You can just step into the unknown. Some of you are ready. Step into the unknown, right? For some of you, the unknown feels incredibly scary, and it has for me in times past, but it feels so unknown to you. Like, what what potentials exist feels so unknown to you that you can't even think about what's unknown. You're like, what is she talking about? How can I trust in something that is not known? If that's coming up for you, it may be an indication that you've never explored infinite potentials before for your life, right? The video, the memory, is one way to bridge that gap, right? If you've never written your story of healing, and what I was talking to somebody in a one-on-one, I'm really loving these private one-on-ones, by the way. I was talking to somebody in a private one-on-one where they heard Rachel's story about how she made a tumor the size of a 6-month pregnancy disappear, and she was very inspired by Rachel's story because she has, I think, fibroids or something like that. And I said to her, what are you doing when this is gone? And she had never actually given a lot of space to that. And she said, well, now that you mention it, I'd be wearing crop tops, I'd be doing. This is how you become familiar with your story. Like before that moment when I asked her, what is she going to be doing when this happens? She had never thought about wearing crop tops. She's in the story of, I have this fibroid and she's in the story. She's walking in the story. She's living in the story. She's focused on the story. How do I get healed? How do I get healed? Well, how you get healed is get out of the damn story and go, I am healed. So now that I am healed, I'm wearing these sexy crop tops because shoot, my stomach's flat now. And what else, what does it look like? Like those of you who have body ailments, what does it look like once that's done? Because it's about to be done. So what does it look like? Like, what are you doing? Where are you going? Are you going on hikes? Are you, rock climbing? Are you running? What are you doing? What are you doing when now this is over? Now that this is over, now that all the financial struggles are complete, what are you doing? Where are you spending your money? Where are you going? Are you vacationing? Are you just giving the money away? Who are you giving it to if you're giving it away? How are they reacting to you giving them the money? What does that feel like to be giving money away? What does it feel like to be going on vacation to whatever place? What does it feel like to be doing blah, 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 whatever it is, right? And a lot of times we're so in search of the solution, waiting for it to happen. Of course, we know whatever you're waiting for, you're waiting with. We're in the arena of waiting for something to happen for so long that we aren't even familiar with what it would look like once it's done. And the key to collapsing time is to become familiar with what life is like once it's done. Once this problem, which doesn't exist, we now know, is complete, what am I doing? What am I saying? Where am I going? What am I doing when I wake up in the morning? What am I doing, midday? What am I doing on the weekends? What am I doing, right? For some of you who are like, I don't want to go work this job anymore. Okay, so now the job is gone and you're sourcing money in whatever way the universe has provided, right? Because we can become attached to how the money is sourced. It's like, no, I'm just doing what I love and money is being sourced in whatever way money gets sourced, right? So how familiar are you with some version of infinite potentials, right? You don't have to know. You can go into the unknown and go, I don't fucking care. I just know it's done. And I'm in this celebratory mode. Another thing that I want to offer, in addition to please become far more familiar with some potential that's completely different than the thing that you're experiencing that you want to exit. You collapse time when you become familiar with that story. If I were to tap you on the shoulder right now, right in this moment, if I were to bring one of you live right now and I say allow to talk, right? If I brought you live now, Gloria, and I said, Gloria, what is the story of one of your infinite possibilities? You should be able to rattle that off like you rehearsed it. It's so familiar. Girl, here's what I'm doing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's not even any pauses. You're so familiar with the story. Most of the time, we're so familiar with what we don't want. That's the story that rolls off our tongue. When I was 6, this happened to me, and now I have trauma. There's like, why are you telling that story? What's your new story? Are you able, if I say, if anybody, this is a real test, right? Turn your iPhone, once this event's over, turn your iPhone, say an iPhone like everybody has an iPhone, whatever your recorder is on your mobile device or wherever you record things. I'm assuming everybody knows how to record things on a mobile device, but let's go with that assumption. So you know how to record your voice on your mobile device. Once this event is over, breathe, give yourself some space and go, this is my new story. And you start rattling it off and then go re-listen to it. Some of you may lapse back into the old story by saying what you don't want. That's not a new story. That's saying what you don't want from the old story. So if you hear that, re-record, right? And as I often say, tell it like it has already happened, use in the past tense, right? I have been wearing crop tops for a few months now because this fibroid has disappeared, it vanished. They were inviting me to have an operation on it, but apparently life had other plans and disintegrated it for me. And I've been wearing crop tops. They're so sexy. I get them from this store. I've always looked at those, whatever. Record your story. Record your story. Record your story. Record your story. And then listen to yourself tell the story. And then look for if there are any lapses back into the old story, right? Anytime you say, I am not doing blah, blah, you lapse back into the old story. We're not talking about what you're not doing. We're talking about what has already manifested in the past tense. It's already manifested. And what are the components? Who are you talking to? Who did you tell? Who did you call first when it happened? Blah, 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 or whatever it is, right? You become so familiar with that story that it becomes you. And moving into that field of infinite potentials becomes so much more easy because you're familiar with your new story. You're so familiar with your new story. You're so familiar. You're so familiar. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I now go to problems are already resolved more than I go to a story. But in the past, the story was a beautiful bridge to me standing sure-footedly and it's all resolved, right? So right now, whenever things happen, because I have this rehearsed, it has already been resolved and doubt the problem I've rehearsed that so much that it's my go-to more often than not. I am not this physical body is my go-to. I am source energy is my go-to now, more often than not. But in the days where I was using what I shared in the video called the memory as a bridge, I would be rehearsing that story every day, right? I'd be rehearsing the story every day, rehearsing the story. And then my son would call, my son who's in the performing arts, he would call and he'd go, what's new? And on the tip of my tongue was that story. And then I realized, wait, that hasn't, right? Like in his reality, that hasn't happened yet. In my reality, it feels like it happened already. But it's so your story, it's so deeply ingrained within you that you like literally want to get on the phone and tell somebody what happened, girl. It feels that alive within you. It feels that alive within you. Another thing that happened when I was becoming familiar with a new story over and over and over every single day is that I would be tossing clothes into the laundry and it would feel like that memory was crossing my mind. It feels like, and I've shared this before, it feels like you went out last night with a bunch of friends and you had an amazing fun time and now it's the next day and you're doing the dishes and you're like, that was so much fun. And the memory crossed your mind, right? That's what started to happen. Like I'd be doing the dishes and that I'm so familiar with my new story that it's crossing my mind while I'm doing the dishes like it already happened. Because I've told it to myself so many times in the past tense. And I'd be throwing, laundry into the washer and that story would cross my mind. And it literally felt like it was something that happened in my life already. That's when you know your new story is alive within you. So for some of you, if you're having trouble, like feeling what that field of infinite potentials would feel like and look like. Like I could just feel the words field of infinite potential. I could just feel that and just go there. Like I could literally, my entire energetic frequency can just go there. But for some of you, you may find that you can't go there as much. Make the telling of your new story part of your mantra for the month of June. Make that so alive within you that you're like, Alice, I can't wait to tell you what my new story is. Like, girl, it's off the tip of my tongue. I can't stop you from talking because you know it so well. You know it so well. You know what you're doing when the healing is complete. You know what you're doing when the money is there. You know what you're doing when you're mentally stable and you're feeling at peace. You know what you're feeling when your mind truly holds only the perspective of source. You know what that feels like. It's alive within you. It's a memory. That's why I call that video the memory. It's alive within you, like it's a memory that you can recall at any time. That's when you know, oh boy, I'm embodying this frequency. It feels so alive within me, right? Okay, and I wanted to end there for just some added support for some of you who may not have spent enough time with your news story, which most people haven't. You're just in the current story, you know? But man, if you spend time in your news story, and I would encourage you to go back and listen. If you're unfamiliar with that experience, I would encourage you to go look at the video called The Memory. And I am complete. So what I'm gonna do now is, okay, I don't see any raised hands. If you wanna raise your hand, you can. Let me double check. I'm scrolling. I don't see any raised hands, which is fine. I'm gonna go to questions to see if anybody has questions. And I'm also gonna open up the chat to see if anybody had anything. Okay. Do I hear Sweet Milo in the background? Yes, that was Milo tip tapping. He went and got some water. He went and got a toy. He needs to go to the to go get his nails trimmed. Would you address how to deal with when someone with trauma history goes into reptilian fight flight when perceived threat comes up instantly as an automatic reaction? The automatic reaction means you've rehearsed that trauma story enough times. So all the automatic, and we all have those automatic things, we automatically go to fear, or we automatically go to defensiveness, or whatever we automatically go to. How to deal with it? Well, if it's coming from trauma history, which is what you shared here, then you have to create a new story to move past the history. If you're embedded in the history, see, the perspective that I always share is this. If you're always referencing trauma history, you're rehearsing the trauma history story. If you're always referencing trauma history, you're embedded in the past, right? You're no longer that person. You're no longer having that traumatic experience. And some people would argue, yeah, but it affects you. Yes, it can. And you can choose a new story as well. You're not alone in this. Many people are in that experience. Whenever I am in something that feels like I can't overcome it, one of the things that I do is go search for stories of overcomers because I'm like, I'm not the only human being on this planet that has had trauma, and you know, and if I'm not the only person, I want to hear from people who have overcome trauma, right? And I bring that up because there are plenty of Joe Dispenza videos on YouTube where people came into his events with trauma history, right? But all he did was encourage them to let go of the history and create a new story for their lives, and to embrace that new story such that the old story is no longer a player in their lives. A lot of people who talk about trauma history or talk about trauma without even realizing it, are referencing and taking their minds back to trauma over and over and over, going back to the story. Let's say something happened to you in your childhood and it was pretty damn traumatic. Some people would say, well, it's hard to let go of that. Well, the minute you say that, you create that experience. It's hard to let go of that. So you can create a new story if you're willing. A lot of people are not willing. They're like, no, I have to work really hard to get past this, right? But if you're willing, you can create a new story that says, this is going to be easy for me to overcome. Your mind's going to go, no, it's not. Nobody gets over stuff like that. That's a lot of shit to get past, right? That's the mind trying to convince you that you have a problem that you really need to focus on. But when you know that you're not separate from source, then all problems are resolved as a result of that awareness. Because as source energy, you don't even see the trauma. You see that you are light. You see that you are love. You see that you are healthy. You see that you're whole. But if you slip and you go back into an unconscious state, right? An unconscious state meaning I am so identified with my past and my history that I can't see anything else. Well, if you're so identified with the past and the history you can't see anything else, then you have to be willing to create and step into a new story. I don't think about the trauma, yet when something happens, like I feel a perceived threat from an aggressive, without even thinking, I instantly go into fight or flight. But see, every time, see, you've told that story twice already. You told it in this paragraph, and now you told it again in this paragraph. What that says to me is, what you're saying to me without realizing it is, I'm so familiar with my flight or flight story that I'm trying to convince you that this is truth. And I'm saying to you, I don't believe that there's a problem with the trauma. I believe that there's a problem. Well, all that's needed is a recognition and a shift in focus. So as source energy, how are you experiencing this? Now you've told me how you're experiencing it from the physical form, right? But how are you experiencing this as source energy? If we go into our thing for the month here, if you recognize it as source energy, you're already tapped into the frequency and field of infinite possibilities and potentials, then that mind that used to hold fight or flight responses now holds responses of confidence, love, certainty, surety. Emotionally, you live predominantly in a state of peace and love because you know that as source energy, that's who you are. Your body moves easily, freely, and comfortably. You're healthy. Mentally, you're healthy. You're vibrant. You're full of energy. So if you truly are contemplating this, you are letting go of the old perspectives. You're letting go of the old perspectives and you're holding on to a new perspective. And the new perspective says, that's a thing of the past. That's who I used to be. It's not who I am now. So right now in this moment, you're still claiming I'm a person that goes into fight or flight, right? You're attempting to convince me that this is your story. You're attempting to convince me that this is your truth, right? But who are you without that story? What if you decided in this moment, I am no longer a fight or flight kind of person? You would say to me, well, what am I now? That's your new story to write. If fight or flight is no longer your story, it's completely up to you if you're going to choose for that to be your story or not. If you write about it again, it's still your story. But if you choose for this not to be your story, what's your new story? When someone gets aggressive, I go into peace because I know I'm safe. Now, if somebody's physically getting aggressive, you're more than welcome to move out of the way, But if somebody's verbally getting aggressive, you can let it pass through you, as we talked about earlier, right? And you're like, I'm not going to tighten any part of my body. I'm going to let it through. Let it through. It's just words. It's your interpretation of the words, right? Whether they're yelling, screaming, whatever they're doing. Don't we all know people who can stay in perfect peace regardless of what's going on? Right? What would the Dalai Lama do? What would Mother Teresa do if somebody was yelling and screaming? She practiced being in peace. They practice being in peace. So you can decide, oh, my new story now is I no longer, fight or flight isn't, fight. You can decide literally in this moment, that's my old story. I don't have anything anymore. You can say, you know, I used to have this fight or flight thing. It's gone now. Now your mind would go, wait till somebody comes up again. Your trauma is going to come up, right? That's what the mind is going to say, right? Your trauma is probably going to come up. It's going to come up, right? You have to be willing to doubt the problem. That's where we started today, right? So now, in your words, you're claiming, I'm a fight or flight kind of person. I go into flight or flight because of past trauma. Now, it's interesting that you say, someone with trauma history goes into blah, blah, blah. And then you said, I don't think it's about the trauma, but see how you were reaching for the historical trauma as a reason for why this was happening? We have to pay attention to that, right? Why am I reaching for past historical trauma to latch onto for how I'm responding to life today? I can choose a different response to life today, regardless of what happened in my past. We all know of stories where two children grow up in the same abusive household, and one grows up and becomes a motivational speaker, an uplifter, and the other is a drug addict, homeless on the street. They grew up in the same exact environment, different choices they made as adults. So you can blame history for the choices you're making today, or you can go, you know, I'm a person who no longer allows historical experiences to affect my present day life. And because I'm a person who does not allow historical experiences to affect my present day life, here's the new story that I'm claiming as my truth. And you spend time in the new story. This question is arising because you spent a lot of time in the old story. And if you move in the direction of what I was sharing here, where you get so familiar with a new story, that fight or flight will naturally disintegrate because you have a new story that you're living into. Who are you in the new story, right? So I hope that helps. What if the reaction comes up from the unconscious? You're still writing the old story. Where did that question come from? If you've written a new story, you would be writing, no reaction comes up because less and less do I ever fall unconscious. That's the new story. But if you're still asking questions that are based in historical experiences, you're there in the past. Is reaction coming up now from the unconscious? No. You can choose your new story. See, the questions that are asked always gives you evidence as to where you are vibrationally. You're conscious that if you're having a reaction, you're conscious of the reaction, right? And if you decide, see, again, if you're unfamiliar with the new story of who you are, which you're not yet, I would say from everything you've written here, you're not conscious of your new story. That's the unconsciousness, really. Because I'm not conscious of my new story yet. If you're conscious of your new story, your entire focus shifts to the new story, and all of the questions that emanate from the old story naturally disintegrate. You don't even have, like, this question wouldn't even come up because you're too much in the juices of the new story. You're like, Allison, girl, I am shit. I don't care what happened in the past. I'm like, oh, I am bouncing in the new story. The new me feels so confident. The new me feels so certain. The new me feels so safe. Nothing can rock my safety and certainty. Nothing can rock my sure-footedness. That's the new me, right? That's the story that you're telling over and over and over. And from that story, this question cannot arise. So if you're in the old story, yes, those questions will continue to rise. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if this? What is it? What if it's my subconscious? What if it's what? But when you're in a new story, none of these questions come up. So you're saying just by creating and practicing the new story, we can change our unconscious? Fuck yes. Like, do you all actually give me some kind of emoji, or do you actually believe that your focus is your superpower? Does everyone, am I the only one that believes my focus is my superpower, or y'all believe it too? Y'all believe it too, right? Okay, thank you. If you're practicing a new story, you're focused on a new story. If you're focused on a new story, you're creating a new reality. If you're creating a new reality, you're creating a new experience. If you're creating a new experience, you're creating a new you. So the answer is, fuck yeah. And I would say, try it. Try it. Give it some space. Give it some airtime. Like, if you've never written your new story, please, in the month of June, write it down. Please write it down. And some of you may try to, I'm getting really hot in here. I don't know if it's my hot flashes or what. But if I asked you, okay, so what's your new story with regard to this? Can you type it up right now? You'd probably be going, well, there'd be a lot of hesitation because it's not ingrained. The new story isn't ingrained. When it's ingrained, now you're like, oh. I would love for you to experience your new story so strongly that you come back to me and you're like, Allison, I don't even know who I was back then. I'm such a different, like, I don't even know. That's what I would love for you to experience. I am so in a completely different place that I don't even know who asked those questions. Who was I? But I'm glad I'm not there anymore. Look, let me tell you what I am right now. Let me tell you where I am. Let me tell you who I am right now. And that's essentially what all of Joe Dispenza's students are doing. They're just, for 7 days, he locks them in a room and they have no option but to go into meditation and practice their new story. If you had 6 hours every day where you didn't have to go to work and you didn't have to do anything, and the only thing you had to do was focus on your energy field and your new story for 7 days straight. And his event days are like 11, 12-hour days. Like, there's a lot of meditation in there. And that's all you thought about for 7 days straight, 4 hours on end? Some of you will take time off to go to the doctor. You'll take time off to go to take your kids to the doctor. You'll take time off if you have a doctor's appointment, but you will never take time off to do something like that. Maybe, maybe call in sick tomorrow and go, I can't come into work today. Something has come up. And spend a whole day practicing your story. It's just one day. It's 1 day. Like all day, like breakfast, writing my story. Mid-morning, I'm gonna walk and tell myself my story. Lunch, reading my story. Mid-afternoon, listening to my story over and over because I recorded it on my mobile device. Mid-afternoon, evening, I am sitting with my story, reading it to myself, adding even more fun details. Nighttime, I am writing my story. By the end of 1 day, you're like, I know my damn story, shoot. Just that 1 day of focused dedication to your new story. Some of y'all will take time off for everything else, but you won't take time off to give yourself a new experience. you can do that. You can pick a day and go. All right, let me talk about one-on-ones. I'm gonna remain quite open in the month of June for one-on-ones on a daily basis, which means I'm probably gonna have somewhere between 20 and 30 spots open. I'll probably only go do, I mean, today is June 2nd, right? I'm probably gonna do just one a day, but I'll leave the calendar open and see how it goes. I'm making this promise and I have not had this experience before, so I'm stepping into the unknown. I don't know what's gonna happen as a result of doing this, but just write down the link, AllisonPhillips.tv/June 2024. I'm gonna take a break after this event is over, walk Milo for a little bit, sit outside for a little bit. Then I'll come back and create that page and put a bunch of things on this page. I'll try to get this video out ASAP, out on YouTube. And that'll be it. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it raw, this entire video, and put it out on YouTube as soon as possible. That way you guys can have access to it. You can re-listen to the experiential part of the contemplation for the month. And on that page, AllisonPhillips.tv/June 2024, I will put the link to sign up for private sessions. Please just sign up for one, and then, because you can sign up for 6. I know you can, but you don't need 6. Just sign up for one and see how it goes. And, if you want another one and there's space open after yours gets done, then I will say this though, the spots may not go that quickly because I will be doing it during the week. Okay. I'm not doing it in the evenings. Evenings tend to be my quiet time. So you got to be available somewhere between 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I may do Saturdays and Sundays, so you can look for that. I haven't decided yet. Somewhere in the next hour or two, I will decide that. But once that page goes live, you can sign up for one-on-one sessions. Oh, here's the most important thing that I want to say about what I will be doing and the capsule within which I'll be doing one-on-ones this month. We have a focus for the month, right? It's what I shared with you here. I recognize it as, so I don't care who you are, where you sign up, whatever. You best believe that whatever you bring to the table, I'll be asking you. Now, filter that through our contemplation for the month. I will be asking you, have you sat with this in contemplation, and what came up for you? Why? I don't want to be the person that you rely on to get out of things. I'm here to support you, and I really want for you all to have these experiences of freedom, really freedom. Oh, that reminds me of something I want to share about that. But, when something comes up in your life, I don't want you to think about the physical, right? Which is, oh, I wish I could book a session with Allison to talk about this. That's fine. I'm here. That's fine. I'm here. However, I want you to get used to the field of infinite potentials yourself. Like, I want you to come into a one-on-one session with me saying, when I sat with the contemplation with regard to this, here's what came up for me, these questions. When I sat in contemplation this month with regard to this, here's what I experienced. Here's where I couldn't move through it or whatever the experience was. But I want you to come through. I want your one-on-ones to come through the filter of our focus for the month, if that makes any sense. Come through the focus of our focus for the month, which is this June 2024 contemplation. So if you're itching to book a session, that's fine. But as you're booking it, go, okay, so now let me sit with what I wanted that session for. Let me sit in contemplation going through all of this. If I say my mind holds only the perspectives of source on this particular thing, what am I seeing? What am I seeing? If emotionally I'm living in a state of predominant peace with regard to this thing, how did I get there? Like, what shifted for me? What am I seeing from the perspective of the frequency that I'm already tapped into? Like, what am I seeing, right? So that's, I want you to live this. I don't want you to come sit here for 2 hours and then just book a session like this never happened. You know what I mean? Can you repeat when you will be sharing the link to sign? Oh yeah. So, well, I'm gonna put the link in the box, but it doesn't exist yet. So it's www.allisonphillips. I always misspell my own last name. .tv/June 2024. Like so, like that. That's what I'm gonna create, and I'm gonna put everything in it. Okay. All right. Oh, the one thing that I wanted to share about the word freedom triggered this for me, so I wanted to share this with you too. For those of you who are creating a new story around money, money can be tricky on our planet because it's been so bastardized by the way we were raised, and yeah, it's just how we were raised. But what I wanted to share with you around that is, rather than thinking about a certain amount of money or thinking about the word finances or financial at all, because one of the things I have in here was financially I'm free to be, do, and experience all that I enjoy. It brings joy to me and to others as well. You can shift that to I'm just free. I'm free to be, do, and experience all that I love to do. I'm just free. Rather than focusing on how much money, because it doesn't actually only require money. Sometimes money is the only thing we can think about when we think about what we don't have yet. But yo, there's such infinite potential in the field. In the space where we don't know anything and we don't know how it's going to happen, in that space, I'm literally taking myself there. In that space where we don't know what it looks like, we don't know what it sounds like, we don't know what its structure is. When you're stepping into that space that is completely unknown, but it's peaceful, there's so much that can happen there, and it doesn't require money. When you're thinking about your ability to be, do, and experience your highest joy in life, whatever that might be for you, just stay focused on being and doing and experiencing your highest joy. Leave the money out of it. Just focus on the freedom. Focus, I'm free. I'm free. I wake up today and I'm free. I'm free to do what I want. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free to do what I want. And the mind is going to go, hi, how are you going to get there? How much money do you know? Just go, no, it doesn't matter. I'm just free. I'm free to do exactly what I want. I'm free to do exactly what I want. Free to live exactly where I want to live. I'm just free. I'm just free. I'm just free. What does it feel like to be free? Oh, I don't know. I'm getting up. I'm just sleeping in late some days. I'm lazing around. I'm taking walks out in nature. Totally free. Taking time off whenever I feel like it. Totally free. I'm so free. I'm just moving into, some days I feel like doing this. Other days I'm just free. I'm just free. I'm so free. I'm so free. It feels so good to be free. You're into freedom. How the freedom comes, whether it comes through money or through it doesn't matter. You're in freedom, okay? You're in total freedom. You're in total freedom. And that, for a lot of people, can be a much easier focus than the word finances or the word money or dollars or financial abundance. All of those things can bring up practiced fear, yeah, just focus on your freedom. You're free. Now, what are you doing now that you're free? You're free. You're free. You're totally free. Everybody feel complete for now? You're very welcome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. It is my absolute joy to be here and to share in this way with you all. It's co-creation, right? And you all showed up here to co-create this experience. Everybody take a deep breath. Another. And another. I see for everyone that you're all well-versed at doubting the problem and equally well-versed at your new potential, your new reality, your new story, and equally well-versed at stepping into you as source energy. I'm claiming this on behalf of every single one of you, that this is a new and natural ability for all of you because you're already source. This is not something you have to try hard at. It's something that you simply recognize. I'm claiming for all of you that that recognition is certain and strong in this very moment. And I say, so it is. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining me for our June live event. And as you know, the first part of this event is in a separate video titled Doubt the Problem. As usual, take what resonates, discard what does not. And I look forward to hanging out with some of you in the free private one-on-one sessions that will be happening in June 2024. Bye.